friends, I'm Chelsea and I am here with my first ever reading vlog. So I thought I would take you along with my life this weekend and talk about the books that I'm reading. It's currently Friday. I don't work on Fridays, so basically this is a weekend for me, and then I'll go until Sunday night probably. I'm here next to my cat, Sweet Reshi, all curled up. So these are the books that I'm currently reading. First up we have Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands. Let's just take a moment to appreciate this beautiful cover. I love it, and I love this hardback because it doesn't have like the dust jacket. It just has the cover and it feels so nice. Like, I just love it. This is a library copy. I wish I owned it. I'm actually almost done with this. I have like 40 pages left. So I started this like a week ago, I think, and I'm hoping to finish it today. We'll see if I can get some reading done. And then once I finish Emily Wilde, I'm gonna read Six of Crows. Very excited. I've not started this one yet. So that will be next up on my physical TBR. And then I'm also listening to Crescent City, House of Sky and Breath. Here's the actual book. You can see it. I'm listening to this on audiobook. I'm like 12 chapters in. Here's a visual example. Yes, that is a coaster as a bookmark. I'm not very far in because it's quite big. I just started it like a couple days ago. So a couple physical books, an audiobook. Like I said, today's Friday. I don't have anything going on. I'm just home with my 10-month-old daughter, so mostly hanging out with her today. We have to go to the store, pick up a couple things, might stop by the library, and otherwise I'll just be home hanging out with her. It's a really gross day, so we're probably just going to be inside, unfortunately. I'll just be listening to my audiobook when I can, and then reading during naps, and of course after she goes to bed is when I get most of my reading, my physical reading in. Just going to see how this vlog goes. Like I said, it's my first one, so bear with me. But I'm excited to kind of have a little more time to just talk about these books. So I am just going to start out reading some of this while she's napping. I was falling asleep while reading last night, so I might have to go back like a page. Has that happened to you? I'm sure it has. I'm on page 301 of 339, so we will see how much reading I get. So I should probably tell you a little bit about this book in case you're not familiar. So this is book 2 in the Emily Wilde series. The first book is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, and I read that back in the fall and loved it. And this one just came out in, I think, January of this year, so it's pretty new. I'll just tell you a little bit about it. If you haven't read the first book, some elements of this second one might be spoilery. I'm not going to go into anything more than what's on the back of the book, so continue at your own risk. If you're like really, you don't want to know anything, then maybe skip over this, but if you're okay with at least knowing what's on the back of the book, then feel free to keep watching. So Emily Wilde is a professor, scholar at Cambridge University. She studies dryadology, which is the study of fairies and the folk. She's described as like a curmudgeonly scholar. Like, she just loves her research, her reading. She's a huge introvert and is just really into her research, and she is writing an encyclopedia of fairies in the first book, and she goes off to this place which feels like Iceland or somewhere in Scandinavia, and is kind of doing like field studies with the people of that area, and is writing her encyclopedia, interacting with the folk, while at the same time her academic rival Wendell Bamblebee, he shows up and he's like, I'm here to help you. And it's a bit of a rivals enemies kind of situation. She does not want him to be there, but at the same time there's a little bit of attraction there. She finds out that he is actually folk himself. Anyway, that is kind of a little bit of the first book. So the second book here, they're back in Cambridge after their adventures abroad, and she's written the encyclopedia, and now they're back and she is working on a map of the Otherlands. So there is a mysterious attack by fairy assassins at Cambridge early on in this book, and it becomes clear that they're after Wendell because turns out, we learned this in the first book, he is an exiled fairy monarch that is on the run. His stepmom is trying to get him, and so she's sending like these assassins after him. Emily and Wendell realize that they have to leave and get away, so they end up going to the Austrian Alps, and she is searching for a particular scholar who disappeared mysteriously years ago, and she thinks that she has some information, and if she can find her, she will be able to help with Wendell and like figure out his situation. Wendell's trying to find a door to get back to his realm so he won't be like attacked by his mother anymore. Emily's trying to help him get back because she does have feelings for him, even though she kind of doesn't want to show it. And then along the way, her niece named Ariadne and the head of the Dryadology department, Rose, they end up going along with Emily and Wendell on their journey to the Austrian Alps. Hello, Reshi. And of course, Emily's dog, Shadow, goes with them, and he is featured heavily in this book, which I love. So they go on an adventure. It's really fun, and it just has very similar vibes to the first book. So this to me is like perfect cozy fantasy. I just love it. Like, there's adventure elements, and there's definitely like the fairy assassins attacking and stuff. So it's not just like super lighthearted and low stakes the whole time. This one probably has a little bit more darkness to it maybe, but it still has those cozy, low stakes vibes with like the historical romance. It's set in 1910, I think. The romance is not like a huge element of it, and they're still kind of like working out their relationship and their feelings. Wendell is very clear about his feelings. Emily is a little more closed off and hesitant because she's like, I don't really want to like get involved with a fairy monarch who's on the run from his murderous stepmother. Like, it's kind of complicated, but she does have feelings for him, and their dynamic is just the best. I just love them. I would love more of the romance, I think, but I also love how cute and sweet and just kind of like slowly it's going. It's not your typical enemies to lovers spicy romance. Like, there's none of that here. It's just a sweet, like cute, witty kind of romance. Their banter is great. It's just so fun. I've been having a great time with this. I'll update you once I read a little more. I just went to the library and I picked up 3 books that I had placed on hold. I normally browse and pick up a couple in person, but I have some other stuff to do, and so I didn't have time to browse. I have my daughter back there, so yeah. But I just put these books on hold like a couple days ago, and they're already in, and I'm very excited about them. So I'm just gonna show you real quick. This one I've been wanting to read for quite some time, Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I have not read the Caraval series or any of her books, and yeah, so there's people walking by. Awkward. Anyway, this one I have heard really good things about, and I feel like it's a book that I'm really gonna like, so hopefully I can get to it soon. Next up, I got The Fury by Alex Michaelides. I love The Silent Patient, and this one has been all over the place too. It sounds really interesting, like a murder mystery set in Greece, and I'm excited about this. And then finally, another one that's been all over BookTube, like insane amounts, Bride by Ali Hazelwood. And I'm very interested to check this one out. I liked The Love Hypothesis, and I think this is her first like paranormal romance, and so I am very curious to see what I think. I gotta see what all the hype's about, you know. So reminder, check out your local library and reserve books, because a lot of them will come in quickly, and new books that are really popular. So there we go. And now I'm off to Aldi and Target, and I will be listening to my audiobook while shopping. finished it. I loved this. This is just like one of those books where I'm just smiling like most of the time. Smiling or laughing, one of the two. I think I liked it even more than the first book, actually. I really loved the first one. This just went to the next level for me, and I'm so glad that there is going to be a third book. I could literally just read a whole book of just Emily and Wendell interacting, and that would be enough for me. And I kind of want a book from Wendell's perspective, because he had one chapter in this, and I think in the first book too, and just his perspective and his mind and sense of humor is just my favorite. I'm gonna have to think about my rating. It's either a 4.5 or a 5. It's high. Can we just talk about Wendell for a second? Because he is seriously one of my favorite characters. He is so unique and ridiculous, funny. He is an exiled fairy monarch. He has all these powers. He has all these weird things that he can do that are continually taking Emily by surprise. He gets in these moods where he gets really violent and will, just go on a killing rampage when he's dealing with like enemies. He's not just killing innocent people, and he just takes people out, and it always kind of catches Emily by surprise. But then at the same time, he's just like this super chill person who just wants to like sit by the fire and drink tea and not interact with anyone at all and just make witty comments. He's always teasing Emily in like a cute, funny, sweet way. And he's also probably a little OCD. He is literally obsessed with cleaning. He never forgets to mention how dirty things are. They never live up to his standards. Also, he appreciates a good breakfast meal, a good cup of coffee, good fashion. He just likes the finer things in life, and I love that. I just think Wendell is hilarious. The way that he says things, he just is so like flippant and uninterested in everything at times. If you read the book, you understand. He's just one of my favorites. I just love Wendell and Emily together. Their banter, their back and forth kind of teasing. It's always super like lighthearted and affectionate. I know sometimes people tease each other and it's kind of like spiteful or like to make the other person feel bad, but you can tell both of them it's just like a lighthearted kind of funny, loving teasing. Here's an example of an exchange that made me laugh. This is when they first got to the cottage that they were staying at in the Austrian Alps. And like I said, Wendell is a neat freak. And so he sees the place, he realizes it doesn't live up to his clean standards. So he's already exasperated about it. He opened a cupboard and shook his head. Good Lord. And then Emily says, "It doesn't look dirty to me," I said, to which he responded with a long-suffering sigh. I added, "And if you are going to be an old hen about it and waste your time clucking over every scrap of clutter, you should know in advance that I won't be assisting." "Old hen!" he exclaimed. "Well, of course you won't help. You'll spend the evening in your preferred manner, hunched over in some dark corner like a troll." And that's just a good example of their dynamic. It's just hilarious. I just love it. And just the writing style in general, it's just like really funny without trying too hard. And with it being Emily's perspective, she's very quirky, and the way she says things come across as very funny without meaning to be. Like, she's a very serious, scholarly, introverted, curmudgeonly lady. She just kind of says things as they are. She doesn't really know how to interact with people. She's very socially awkward and super real and relatable. I love that. At the end of the book, she's rehearsing this speech that she's giving to her niece about like how much she's come to care about her. Being an awkward introvert myself, I totally relate to like rehearsing a speech ahead of time. And so I just love that. Like, I really relate to Emily a lot. So I just really love like the writing style, but also these two characters and like how they interact with each other. And I just love the overall feel of this book. It's super cozy. I really just enjoyed like every second of this. There wasn't really a moment where I wasn't interested. I enjoyed the new characters that showed up, and we saw some old characters too from the last book. It was just a really good time. Highly recommend. I'm probably gonna land on, let's say, 4.75. I don't know why it's not a 5. It could be a 5-star. Almost there. So close. I think the first book I rated 4.5, and this one I liked even more. So that feels right to me. One more thing about this. This is a super quick and easy read. I feel like it's under 400 pages and it reads very easily. But even though it's historical and definitely has that feel overall, it's a pretty quick and easy read. I probably could have read this in just a couple days if I actually had more time in my life to read. It felt like a good spring book, even though it takes place in September. so like it's technically fall, but they're in the Alps. A lot of nature and good descriptions of the outdoors. I'm very glad I got to this when I did. Really enjoyed being able to get through this pretty quickly for me. A week of reading a physical book actually is pretty good, honestly, at this rate. Okay, so let's talk about Crescent City a little bit. As I mentioned, I read the first book last month. I gave it a 4.5, really enjoyed it. This is the second book. I started it like 2 days ago, and like I said, I'm listening to it. So just like Emily Wilde, this is book 2 in the series. So if you haven't read the first book or the series at all, then some of this might be spoilery. Again, sorry, these are the second book in a series, but I want to be able to talk about the plot at least. So again, if you don't want to know any of that, then feel free to skip ahead. Six of Crows is the first in a series, so you can watch that if you don't want spoilers. But yeah, so I'm going to talk just a little bit about the plot, like what happened at the end of the first book and now leading into this book. But otherwise, I'm not even far enough in this to give any spoilers. It's more so the end of the last book. Sarah J. Maas really knows how to just make the ending of her books absolutely wild, fast-paced. The ending of Crescent City was great. Basically, the Asteri, who are like the reigning powers that be, they attack Crescent City, and Bryce and Hunt are trying to protect the city. So Bryce makes the drop, which means she becomes immortal because she's half human and half fae. She's able to use her power to help get people out, save the city basically, and Hunt and some other people who have been involved with them, they are dealing with the Asteri because they're at this like big council meeting kind of thing. Long story short, Bryce and Hunt, they help kind of save the city. So they're left to deal with the after effects of everything that happened. And basically the Asteri is like, thank you for doing your part, but you need to lay low and not let anyone know what happened because we don't want this rebellion to like catch fire. They don't want the rebellion to continue. That's where the start of this book is. Bryce and Hunt have this attraction and they have not really had time to explore their relationship. And now that things have slowed down, they are trying to focus more on their relationship. This book starts with Bryce and Hunt. They're roommates, technically. They're deciding to keep things, we'll say, platonic until solstice. They're dealing with everything that happened in the spring. And so they're like, let's just take it slow, get to know each other without a murder investigation, an attack on the city, and a political rebellion. Let's just take time to get to know each other before moving forward in the relationship. But, you know, there's going to be a lot of tension. And then at the same time, there's things with the rebellion, things that they're finding out, and they get grouped up with these people who are trying to go against the Asteri. And so they get kind of swept up into this, which of course they've been told to lay low and stay quiet, but they get caught up in it. They know they're supposed to stay quiet and stay out of it, but they also don't want to like ignore these people who are being mistreated by the Asteri. It's going fine so far. I don't think I'm as hooked at this point in the book as I was the first book, which I know a lot of people have said it was a lot to get into, and I feel like it didn't feel like that way for me with Crescent City 1, and with this one I'm kind of just like meh about it, but it's still early, so hopefully it'll pick up, and I'm really curious to see how the ending goes. So I'll keep you updated along the way, but I'm going to start Six of Crows as my physical read and just keep listening to this here and there when I get a chance. So some time has passed. It is now Friday evening and the baby's down. My husband and I have just been hanging out, and now it's time to read before I go to bed. We'll see how long I can stay awake because I'm getting pretty tired. Yeah, so I finished Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands and I am going to start Six of Crows. I'm just going to read the little short synopsis on the back in case you don't know what it's about. Ketterdam, a bustling hub of international trade where anything can be had for the right price, and no one knows that better than criminal prodigy Kaz Brecker. Kaz is offered a chance at a deadly heist that could make him rich beyond his wildest dreams, but he can't pull it off alone. A convict with a thirst for revenge, a sharpshooter who can't walk away from a wager, a runaway with a privileged past, a spy known as the Wraith, a heartrender using her magic to survive the slums, a thief with a gift for unlikely escapes. Kaz's crew are the only ones who might stand between the world and destruction. if they don't kill each other first. So yeah, it's a heist story with a bunch of people, just a ragtag crew of people thrown together. Definitely some morally gray characters here. So I mentioned this in a past video. I have seen the Shadow and Bone show, so I am familiar with this world. I read the first Shadow and Bone book. I didn't really continue reading, but I am familiar with the story, and I really enjoyed the Six of Crows characters and the storyline in the show. So I'm curious to see like how it compares to the show, and I'm hoping that that won't like affect my experience of the book. Usually I like to read the book first, but I watched the show first. But I am very excited to read this. I'm just gonna see how much I can get done this evening. Hello friends, so it is Saturday morning and I'm here with my trusty kitty, Reshi. He's very cuddly right now. He's purring very loudly. I'm just chilling. The baby is down for her nap. I should stop referring to her as the baby. Her name's Juniper. Okay. Reshi's hitting the tripod. That's cool. So yeah, my daughter's name is Juniper. June is what we call her. So June is down for her nap. I am going to try to get some reading done. I only read like 25 pages of Six of Crows last night. I like made the mistake of laying down on the couch and I got way too comfy and fell asleep again. So I didn't get very far, but I'm hoping to read a little more today. I'm enjoying it so far though. It has very dark, gritty atmosphere. It's starting to get introduced to the characters. It seems like each chapter is from a different character's perspective. I've only gotten through 2 of them so far. Hello, sir. What do you want? So far, I've got to say all the characters in the show, they're matching up really well with the descriptions in the book, which I shouldn't be surprised about. You would hope that someone would put some thought into that based on the book. I'm going to read a little more of this while I can. And then I am about 25% through the audiobook of House of Sky and Breath. Obviously, things are still just kind of setting up Bryce and Hunt and their crew, which is Rune, Therian, and Ethan. It's kind of a random assemblage, is that a word? Hanging out in Bryce's apartment for different reasons, and they're all thrown together, and then this dude Cormac shows out of nowhere saying that he is Bryce's fiance, and she's like, wait, what? Some stuff gets revealed and he is kind of involved with the rebel movement. He's trying to get Bryce and Hunt involved. Currently, I'm at the point where they're just presented with this opportunity to be involved in the movement, but they're not so sure. So they're talking it over. I'm enjoying it a little bit more now and just listening throughout my day. Mostly I listen while I'm just around the house, like getting ready, doing chores, feeding, nursing, of course, like in the car or exercising. Pretty much any chance I get. We don't really have much going on today. It's a beautiful day. We might go outside a little bit, just see where the day takes us. Here with a little reading update. We went out to a coffee shop and read for a little bit, and I've just been reading since we got home. I am 100 pages into Six of Crows. I've made it to part 2, so very exciting. I am loving it so far. I'm just like already hooked. I have a good feeling about this one. I'm just enjoying getting to know these characters, seeing this kind of heist come together. Already I feel like the characters are very complex and layered. Specifically Kaz and Inej I feel like are very interesting. If you're into the Enneagram at all, I think that Kaz is a 3. He's just very ambitious and like will do anything to get what he wants, which in this case is money and secrets, just to have like the upper hand with the people that he interacts with and to come out on top. He's just a very interesting character, as well as Inej, who is a murderous spy basically. She's called the Wraith, but she's also very religious and has saints that she like prays to, and even though her life is not what she thought it would be, she like thinks that they're watching over her. And then I also love Jesper and Nina. I pretty much have gotten up to the part where Kaz has been approached about this heist, and he's trying to get this team of people together from his gang called the Dregs, but he has to really like curate this group of people that will be fit for this particular mission because it's really dangerous. So basically there's this substance called Jerda parum. I don't know if I'm saying that right. So Jerda is just a stimulant. It's harmless, but this new formation of it, Jerda parum, is really dangerous. It affects Grisha and it kind of makes their powers really insane and like impossible. So yeah, someone made this powder and it really affects them, and it also is like addicting. It is harmful to them, but it does like crazy things. Like they can walk through walls and turn a stone into gold, just kind of modify the natural world even more so than their normal powers can. And so the government of the man who created this, they are getting wind of it and they are wanting to use it negatively. So basically the creator of this formula, someone wants Kaz and his team to get him out because he is stuck in this place called the Ice Court that apparently is really dangerous and no one goes there. He wants Kaz and his group to get this man out. Basically they're stealing a person. Apparently it's like a super dangerous journey. It's very high risk but high reward. The last chapter I read, they go to this prison to get someone who is going to be helpful for their adventure. I don't really remember much of this from the show, and I don't know if it's because my memory's terrible or if it's very different, which is kind of nice because I was a little hesitant to read it after watching the show because I didn't want it to feel like the same thing. So it's nice that I'm not really remembering it because it feels like I'm experiencing this story for the first time. I feel like if I hadn't watched the show or read the first Shadow and Bone, I might have been slightly confused about some things, but not too much. Like they do explain it pretty well. I think that is it for now. I have a couple things going on this afternoon. My parents are coming over and I'm going to a supper club event through my church. All the ladies are getting together. I will check back in with you in a couple hours. Hello. So I have not done any more reading since the last time I talked to you. Well, I listened to Crescent City, but like physical reading. I had fun at my girls' night. Lots of good food, lots of good conversation. Now I'm home and I'm gonna read a little bit more, then go to bed because I'm pretty tired. I'm gonna try to read 1 or 2 chapters. Hello friends, so it is Sunday morning. I have been listening to Crescent City and not reading Six of Crows. We're off to church in a little bit. I thought I'd give you a little update on my thoughts, and you might see my bad cat looking for trouble. This is Adelaide, Badelaide, in case you remember. She's got trouble on the mind. Hello, say hi. Hello. Hello. Alright, she doesn't not care. I'd like to mess with her because she's just annoying and I feel like she deserves it. In all honesty though, she is pretty sweet. She's not terrible, she's just annoying. I thought I would talk a little bit about how I'm feeling about the characters in Crescent City versus Six of Crows because I've been having some thoughts. This is where I'm at in Crescent City audiobook. Now she's on my book cart. What are you doing? Hello. This is what I'm talking about, y'all. Anyway, so I've gotten a little further in Crescent City. I think I'm realizing Bryce and Hunt, the reason I'm not feeling connected to them or invested in their relationship, I just feel that they're kind of one-dimensional and don't have a lot of depth to them. I think it's becoming more clear to me as I'm reading Six of Crows. I think I mentioned before, the characters in Six of Crows already just 100 pages in feel very complex and layered. And then when I compare that to Crescent City, Bryce and Hunt and a lot of the characters, but I feel like them as the 2 main characters just honestly feel like there's not a lot of depth or complexity there. Bryce is a party girl. She's obsessed with her friend Danica. She does want to help people, like she wants to use her powers for good, but there's not a lot else going on there. Same thing Hunt, like he's had his past. He's in the rebellion, fallen angel, angel of death, whatever. He's lost some people he's loved. He's been a slave to the government. Like he's obviously got a lot of history and stuff going on, but then at the same time he likes to watch Sunball and he wants to get it on with Bryce. Also, there was a spicy scene and I'm just like, I can't. That's where I'm at with this. Like I just read ACOTAR. There were a lot more interesting characters there. Like Nesta, even though Silver Flames, again, the spice was too much for me. Nesta is a really interesting character and there's a lot of depth there. And then even Reese and Farah, like I love them as a couple, but I also feel like there is some more interesting stuff going on with them as characters. And I'm just not getting that with Bryce and Hunt. I'm really enjoying the premise, the urban fantasy setting with still some mystery, the rebellion with the Empire and all that. Like I really do enjoy that setting and premise, but I'm just not feeling connected to the characters. And there are some I like I like Rune. I feel like he's a little more interesting. I like Juniper, not just because it's my daughter's name, but she's sweet. And like Therian and even Cormac, who's this new dude that just shows up, they're like a little more interesting, but they're not the main characters. I need to be invested in the main characters to really be invested in the book. With that said, this book, that is why I'm feeling that way about Crescent City, because I'm loving these characters. They just have so much going on already. It's crazy to me that they're 17 years old. I feel like in the show they're like 30. They've had really difficult lives and they're not even 18 yet. Their motivations, I feel like, are very clear. Even if they're very morally gray, I am very invested in rooting for them. And also I just feel like it has the perfect combination of having these great characters that are really intriguing and interesting, also with a great premise and a great unique magic system world with action. It just has like all the elements that I love. I feel like this book, look, the first book and this book, there you got 800 pages. If you don't have interesting characters, like, what are you doing? It can't just all be the magic and the plot and the action. Like, there's gotta be some character stuff in this thick of a book. This is like half the size of that, and it's already exceeding Crescent City as far as character development goes. Anyway, that's my thoughts on these two books. I will update you later in the day after I go about my life. So it is Sunday evening. I'm here with my buddy Reshi again. He's my cuddle buddy. He's been very sweet tonight. I'm about to go to bed, but I thought I'd update you. So I am over halfway through Six of Crows. I have been reading a lot today, more than normal, honestly. So this is maybe not the most realistic portrait of my reading, but I'm very happy with how it's been going. So today has been super chill. We went to this little like vintage pop-up market after church and then put June down for a nap. Anyway, we read out on the porch, then she woke up and I kept reading, then she went to bed and I continued to read. I'm still loving it. It's really a fast-paced read and I have not wanted to put it down. I'm just really invested in the story and the characters. Just have been non-stop reading. We've been getting a little bit of the backstory of all the different characters and it's nice how it's introduced. It kind of like gets woven in along with like the present day. And so yeah, I'm just learning a lot more about these characters and what happened to them in the past, specifically getting more info about Nina and Matthias, who I am very interested in because they have a very complex relationship. Already feeling a lot more invested in all the little hints of romance here. It's not really a main part of the book, but there's little hints of attraction and interest with certain characters. I'm already more invested in those than I am in Crescent City. Not to rag on Crescent City again, because it's not a bad book. I'm just not as invested, and I'm invested in like every single person in this book. I'm just loving it. I have a feeling this is going to be a 5-star read. It's been a good chill reading day. I think that is all for now. Hello! So it is Monday morning and I thought I would just do a quick recap of my reading weekend. So I read 3 books over the weekend. The first one was Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands, book 2 in the Emily Wilde series. I finished the last 40 pages of this book. Absolutely loved it. I talked about it earlier, but I just love Emily and Wendell so much. They're just one of my favorite fictional couples. This book just has the perfect combination of like coziness, the historical setting, sweet romance with some adventure, and the fairy world. Great characters. So it just combines so many great things for me. I'm very excited for the next book. This was a 4.75, very successful read. Then I have also been listening to Crescent City, House of Sky and Breath, and I'm now 40% of the way through the audiobook. I think I started the weekend off around 20% in, so I went up by 20%. I shared some of my thoughts on this as well. I'm enjoying it, but I'm not like loving it. The characters I don't really feel a lot of things for. Even now, like Bryce and Hunt are exploring their relationship even more, and I'm just like, okay, whatever. Maybe I just am cold-hearted, but I know I'm not, because Emily and Wendell, I was like smiling and blushing the whole time. I'm not connecting with the romance and the characters as much, but I am enjoying the storyline and the setting and the little intrigue and mystery elements of it. It's gonna take a while for me to finish this one, but I am working my way through. And last but certainly not least, Six of Crows. I started it on Friday night and I am over halfway through. I read 246 pages this weekend. Honestly, really good, and also 40 pages in Emily Wilde, so almost 300 pages of physical reading over the weekend. Gotten halfway through and I am loving it. I love just the heist and the setup and the magic system and the world that they're in. I love these characters so much. I'm just so attached already and I literally cannot put it down. This is probably going to be a 5-star read. I will definitely be talking about this in my wrap-up video, as well as Crescent City and Emily Wilde. So I read about 300 pages, finished one book, got halfway through another, and making progress at another audiobook. It was a good reading weekend, very relaxing, successful reading time, and this was really fun. I enjoyed doing this, so hopefully y'all will enjoy watching this, and I hope to do more of these in the future. Let me know what you've been reading lately, what you're loving, and if you've read any of these books, or if you have any recommendations for me. I'd love to hear just all the things that you're reading right now and what you're loving. That is it for now. I will see you in my next video. Bye!